Bet. Hey, that's what's
Yo,
up. Yo, yeah, let's get right into it, Castro. First, I just wanted to say, happy belated,
yeah,
happy
happy
belated
birthday.
birthday.
Oh yeah,
Proud to be
thank you.
you.
Shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Nigga getting old.
I feel you. I feel that every day. But
Nigga getting old.
congratulations on all your success and congratulations on overcoming all adversity and your perseverance and your career. And we're really happy to be talking and building with you this morning for you and this evening for us.
Oh shit, yeah. What time is it out there?
It's 8 p.m. 8 p.m.
8 p.m. at night.
All right, cool. What's up,
Which
Jet? But nah, thank
yo,
y'all. Thank y'all for having me and shit. Yeah, I got big fans over here.
oh
I got
word.
I got a couple of questions. I know I watched the podcast a bunch and like, what the fuck y'all doing over there? Like, just what are y'all over there? What are y'all doing over there, yo? How'd y'all get over there? I've heard multiple stories, but
Yeah.
like, it's just
No,
like,
like for me, I was going through I was living in Texas taking care of my nephew. I'm from Cali, but I was taking care of my nephew, and once I got him into college, I didn't want to be in Texas no more for
mhm.
a variety of reasons. And I was gonna go back to Cali to live with my to live closer to my biological father. But I went to go visit my folks in Okinawa, my stepdad and my mom. My stepdad was finishing up his Marine Corps
Okay, in the service.
career.
Yeah, yep.
And in the meantime, my biological father passed away. So I decided to sell part of my business that I had. I was an insurance agent in Texas. I sold it my half to my business partner, and I just stayed in Okinawa where I met like a little B girl. I used to break, and I was teaching and doing breaking on one of the military bases a little bit, and yeah, well, I just was like, hey, yo, you want to get married and move to Tokyo? We weren't even really dating, and yeah,
that's
I was in
that's
Tokyo
a
like 2 months
proposition.
later.
I
I've
love
been
that.
out here for
But
about
when you got out
2 months
there,
now.
you immediately found the hip hop scene. Was that
Yeah,
immediate? Dope, dope,
I
dope.
mean, it wasn't like I didn't really get in. Like I was just hitting the gym, trying to keep in shape or whatever, and I was single, so I was trying to, and I mean, keep up and meet ladies and stuff. But obviously, I gravitated towards hip hop culture, and I met some military cats that were breaking, and I hadn't been breaking for like 10 years, so I was like, let me
Mm,
go ahead and try to get into it,
yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah,
That's
and my
dope.
wife, my wife is still a B girl, and my daughter, and I just just tapped in like that. How about you,
She
Jay?
she she a class right now?
No, my daughter's like tonight. My daughter's her first day of volleyball. So,
Okay.
but yeah,
Ah,
but she be breaking.
athletic.
Yeah.
Hell
How
yeah,
about
yeah.
you, Jay? How you get out
My
here?
story is way less interesting than that. Like
What's up, man?
I was into Japanese music and
You
I
just
had
took
a
a trip.
podcast and shit. And I took a trip out here and then I didn't leave.
I love
Yeah,
that.
Jay
Because
be
when
a
I was
professional
younger,
model out here, bro. Like I
no,
be seeing him on.
when I was younger, I had people that this is way like people wanted to go to Tokyo and go to Japan and stuff. And I remember that I had this one homegirls in college and she started doing hair and she was like, "Yo, there's a lot of money if you go out east and you could turn their hair into locks." So what are you
Yeah,
talking about? I say, "Yo, you can go out there for 6 months and
yeah.
cake out." And I just didn't. And now it's even more appropriate. They do the Afro things and
Hmm.
stuff. But
Even then.
this is
Yeah,
like 25 years ago, she was planting this seed. And I was like, okay, okay. You know what I mean? And then since then, I've had friends that have traveled to make it even more. Well, I want to go. And I'm coming out there. I'm gonna see y'all.
we love to see you
Yeah,
out here,
for
man.
sure.
I was going to ask if you ever been out here before. Like for me,
Nah,
I
not
never,
haven't had the pleasure.
I'm just a low level goon, and like I don't even have a bachelor's degree or nothing like that. So I never expected that I'll be able to be overseas and lamping like this. So for me, I came out here and I was just like, yo, there seems like the hip hop scene is so diverse and scattered, and there's not really anybody talking about it in English. So I had my podcast going for several years out here, and because of the access and just being here, I was able to build with some cats that I never thought I would meet. In this very studio, I've had some people who are absolute legends, and it's just like, yo, I never wanted to be a journalist or anything like that. I just been rocking with hip hop culture since
So
since I can remember. So
I think
yeah,
culturally speaking, like other countries and other continents and stuff, they have a different idea of like academia. So like, in the States and shit, it's like, yo, you got a degree, all right, fine. You got your master's, you know what I mean? There's
yeah,
a lot of glass ceilings for it when it comes to like academic accomplishment and how that leads you into the work field. So I love
yeah,
when other people go to place. And also we in the 2020s, man. Like we're in a totally different phase where it's like, you know what? Fuck your job. Like, you know what I mean? I'll
yeah,
make money out of thin air and not just a creative that, like back in the day, was arts and crafts cats or people that would buy their own books and be out there busking. Like, oh man, these guys can make money. They don't need to be, you know, in the system or whatever like that. But now I think people are like turning their backs to being corporate. Like, you know what? No, I'm gonna make some things and sell it, or I'm gonna do this and promote that, or make what do they got? People making capsules now. They sell you a book on how to do this and how to do that, and you know what I mean. I remember back in the day, those were just little pamphlets in like Afrocentric stores and stuff like that. And so now I just love how people are able to expand and really control, because you don't want to be like that financial anchor, like, oh, I can't do nothing because I got to work this damn job. You know what I'm saying, for whatever time. But yeah,
it's one of the illest things about being, you know, a black person out here in Japan is that they love black culture, but they also have like this really ahistorical view of it. Everything they know is like from watching videos overseas.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You know, the wild interactions. So you see a lot of black folks who are doing amazing things out here. Like my people, they got it's called the Soul Food House, and it's just like it's been in Jay-Z, Pharrell videos, just because they black folks, entrepreneurial, and even with the hair design stuff, like, you know, a lot of Japanese people tap into that. But like people, my dude from New York, he got a shop in Harajuku, and you know, Kanye be coming through to get his haircut when he comes through, and he's just
every black hair shop in Tokyo has like a picture of Travis Scott or Kanye.
I love that. Like, so it's becoming a destination.
Yeah. And so, you know, but also we got to hold it down too, because they still got their own issues out here with race and racial profiling. And my man is going up against the Tokyo Police Department right now in a class action lawsuit, and we be out here marching for the rights and everything like that. But overall, man, I just feel very privileged because our material conditions out here are met in a different way than the United States. Outside of worrying about the police, we get stopped all the time, but like the type of like violence,
I don't fear for my life when I'm dealing with a cop in Japan,
bro.
Yeah, I was just having a talk with my girl about
they're gonna ruin your day, you know.
Exactly. Like this understanding. Okay, it's this interaction with law enforcement. It could go a number of ways, but like in the States, it's like, hey, I can die, like period, point blank. It's not really no gray area, whatever. Whether I'm sitting in my car, whether I'm outside my car, you know, we all know that. We ain't got to go into the rigmarole. So I can appreciate other cultures at least. You know, like even in the UK with no guns. Like the cops come on the scene with no guns, and if guns are needed, they call the other division in. But out here, they running with that thing pointed first. Period.
It's crazy because Japanese cops are armed. They do have guns. They all carry a little revolver on them. But
and like, they all got a black belt in the form of martial arts.
They all have like
it's mandatory. Like you got to have a black belt in judo or something.
And be somewhat fit. America really went. First of all, I don't even like cops. Everybody know that, but like, I remember obviously, but I remember when I started seeing like fat cops when I was younger. And I was like, don't you have to be like in shape to chase people and, you know, climb up trees and get cats and stuff? And once I think they started like letting that part go, the fitness part go, and them being somewhat athletic and sitting in their cars more and getting Gordo and shit like that. Now you got to even a super disconnect, because I'm not chasing you. I remember my friend knows a cop, and he says specifically, he said, we're not chasing you. The bullet chases you. Like that's just it. That the bullet is to them it's like a long distance arm. So you all the way down the block. Shit.
The long arm of the law is bullet speed.
The bullet. You know what I mean? Like, it's a fucking bullet.
Bullet speed. You know, it's wild. You know, they got out here in the United States, and maybe this is anecdotal, but I think I've seen a few people posted enough times. But like, there's an IQ cap on how smart you can be and join a police force. If you are above a certain, if you're too smart or psychologically sounded, like, yo, your morals, we're not able to shape you. We're not able to, you know,
most definitely. They're trying to turn you into an automaton. And I was talking to my friend. I said, so even in these let's talk about police. They deal with very high crisis, high stress situations. When you're highly stressed and you're confused and disoriented, what do you go to? Your training. And nobody, look, we watch TV and all that stuff, and we can move on after this. They don't train them to shoot people in the knee. They don't train them to disarm them. They train 3-shot center mass that takes a person down. And they say it because that's the most concentrated part of the body. Center mass, that's the biggest target they got. They're not going to try to close their eye like Mel Gibson and shoot your leg. Like we think, oh, you know, disarm. Nah, they train, and your training kicks in.
They're not trying to kneecap nobody, and it don't matter if you got a gun, if you got an X-Acto knife, or you got or you know what I mean, a super soaker.
A dog. It's like it don't matter. Hopefully, dog. I saw them beating up a dog, shooting him with paint pellets and tasing the dog. It's all whining, you know, dog just trying to protect its owner.
Yeah, police you call the police gonna kill your animal. That's like,
don't have. This is for everybody listening.
Yeah,
all right?
I feel
If
like
you
they
call
probably
the
get a Boy
police on
Scout
your
badge.
situation in any
You know what I
continent of the country, do not have your animal out there. They love that. They'll kill the animal. You'll be in the jail cell crying, and they'll let you out later. But just put the animals away.
It don't matter if it's a pit bull or a fucking schnauzer or a Jack Russell Terrier. That motherfucker,
they'll take them out. Yo, little bird, shit. Cops ain't shit. They'll shoot the bird.
They probably go back to the station and get like a little Boy Scout badge too. They got a little sash on with.
with the animals they kill shit. Yo, I took out a cow the other day. We went on this ranch, dog. These cows is mooing mad loud.
You know who got a Rottweiler last week?
You know what I'm saying?
Rubanowski got a Rottweiler.
What's wrong with them, man? They fucking keeping score on the pet killing.
Nah, that shit is wild. But that's one of the reasons I love being out here in Japan is like proximity to dopeness and just like, when I go back to the United States, all the places that I grew up that used to be beautiful and culturally rich, now it's a Starbucks, now it's a grocery. You know what I mean? Like,
it is wild.
The gentrification.
Like, you can't live like in a mega city, maybe anywhere else. I don't know, maybe out in like Bangkok or whatever, but like right now, I mean, you're like right in the middle of things. You're right in the heart of the city. I'm just outside. I'm in like a kind of trendy, like little fashion type district. Nice. I pay $500 a month for my rent.
Yeah.
Like,
oof. Oh man, don't
impossible. Bro, in London, that would be 2,000-3,000.
Yeah. Of course.
I pay $1,500 a month, and 5 minutes from my house is the third busiest train station in the world. Boom. And it's like, you know what I mean? I'm surrounded by everything I need, and it's just like it's a walkable city. I don't got to worry about no cars or nothing like that. Mm-hmm. And $1,500 for rent. I got 2 bedrooms. It's okay. I go back to, I go to Inglewood or I go to Oceanside, California, or the Bay where I was living. It's like, yo, I'll pay $1,500 for a bedroom out there,
right?
And
literally
still just have to deal with the yuppies and the buppies and all types of, people that don't come from that area that's hiking up the prices. I can't, I can't see myself going back.
Okay, yeah. Well, look, I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and I
visit the vibes. Yeah, you know the vibes.
But I'm not moving back. No way.
Yeah. Mm-mm. Where you at now? Out in Philly, right?
Yeah, in Philadelphia. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is always a story in itself. Yeah.
Scheme Richards.
Yeah, I know Scheme.
Okay, that's the people.
Yeah, like I know him through somebody, but we're aware of each other. But he's the homie. He's the collector supreme.
Oh yeah,
he keeps the collections up. He gets the 45s up. Yeah. I love Scheme because he keeps that beat. You know what I'm saying? He keeps that beat, that original heartbeat, that original hip hop beat. He keeps that alive out here.
I love him. He's been around so long, even though he be doing like the Red Bull BC1s, he'd be the first person to tell you the Red Bull BC1 music selection is trash and the culture is getting fucking watered down and too. So I love Scheme. He the people too.
I call him like an originalist. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like he has like the original version, first volume, first first printing type shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what's up. Yeah, Scheme's the dope. Scheme's dope.
Yeah, he was out here a couple months back. I was going to have him and Neil Armstrong on a podcast together to post up and chill, but they busy. It's
yeah, but I know Scheme goes out there. I know he makes more. He makes his round. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you need to connect with him about like getting out here. You know what I mean? Like in terms of the places to stay, but also we will save the conversation for another time when you plan on coming out here. But we know some event organizers. We know Cass is bringing out like Rap Ferreira, YL, and Stalker and stuff. So nice. we could probably help facilitate.
Oh yeah, well I'll take you up on that. I'll talk to my people. We will make phone calls. That's we mobile as long as it's we financial. Obviously, if it's financially doable, we'll make a trip.
No doubt. We would love to have you out here, man. Yeah.
Sushi's on. We road warriors. We'll do it. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, no doubt. But let's transition, Like I appreciate you watching the show, and we're fans of yours.
Before we even get deep into it, look, y'all are doing good work. I know sometimes you're in your bubble and you just putting things out, and you might not know. Y'all are doing really great work. You get a lot of pub out here. A lot of people respect that you even take the time. Forget like what you talk about, or how you not what you, but how you talk about the albums. People like us, we really respect that you take out the time because you don't have to. And then you're also, expanding our listener base because y'all are over there. You know what I'm saying, with the connection. So we really appreciate that, all of us artists. And I just want to say salute to y'all for putting out that good work, y'all. Yes.
Yeah. It's all for me. It's like and maybe Jet feel a way about it because I just see it as a hobby, and it's one of those things that I don't even have any intention of making money off of it. All of the money we get, like we we take our Patreon and we're Patreons for y'all. We're Patreons for Rap Music Plug
We
Podcast.
do the same. Yep. We
You know
do
what I mean?
the same shit. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Patreons for Noname Book Club. You know, Noname supports us, and so we take that money and put it right back, and we
big up
buy
that.
albums every month with the Patreon. And it would be dope to you know, carve out a lane and make a little bit of money off of it. But like my sole intention when we started was mostly just to have serious conversations about upcoming hip hop music. And you know, I've been a b-boy since, you know, 1996, and I grew up through 4-element culture, hip hop, and I've been around the culture and around, you know, listen to Alaska and Adam's Family when it was dropping and shit like that. And so like
you know, you fit for your shit.
For me it's just like I and also because of my political lens, I feel like hip hop is not discussed seriously in any in a lot of regards. I feel like a lot of it is like kind of like what Alaska was talking about the other day in the Discord about how canonized Jay Dilla is, and a lot of that shit to me is romanticized and mythologized, and that's why I like to try to take it from a different position and put it into like historical lens of political economy and radical movements and black radical politics, and really get into like what makes this music radical and special and not just good sounding to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, like I'm you know, and y'all know my material. I'm all about the academic. This thing of ours is very scholarly. Call our culture in particular, like we have a scholarly responsibility. I was talking with the fellas about, like, you know, Vice is gone. You know what I'm saying? Which is like these platform players gone. So that discussion, you know, forum is kind of gone, and a lot of people still want to approach hip hop on an academic lens and stuff. And I was like, yo, we're going to be the ones keeping up that torch, because they still want to, people still want to have that discourse. People still want to investigate things to that level and dive in deep past liner notes and all that shit. And so I said, we have some responsibility to that because of how we cover hip hop. And I said, we got to, you know, just to keep just hitting war drums for my boys. And I was just saying, that's what's going to happen, because all of these other platforms that used to have the academic lens, they're gone. They literally just disappeared in these last 2 or 3 years. So where are people going to go to get that info?
And it has to also be from people who were there and not just reading about it in a book that came out. You know what I mean? So guys like Alaska and y'all and Scheme, you know what I mean? So otherwise, you know, they take and manipulate the story. Next thing you know, you're watching something on Netflix that is just inaccurate. You know what I mean? Like,
the funniest shit to me is like they do the biopics, and some of them is all right, but they can't help themselves. So I went and saw the Bob Marley movie, and like that was dope. Really done well, but I was comparing it to the Straight Outta Compton movie where Dre is sitting there fucking with the keyboard, and it's like off, and then here comes Snoop. Oh, I got some for that, Dre. And I was like telling my girls, like, that's not how that happened. I just want to know. That is not, I don't care what he wasn't just playing this grand white piano in this room with wafting with wind, and here comes Snoop, and he's just missing the note. No, that's not how that happened. Somebody else played those keys. He was in the studio. I just, you know what I'm saying? They really like to romanticize it, but it's a movie. You know, you got to make it so, you know, like a movie moment and shit. Oh man, that's how you came up with that? Yeah, I was just, you know, whatever.
I be feeling a little bit like a curmudgeon sometimes. That's why I like hearing y'all, because it's like, all right, I'm not the only one out here this laughing at how Dr. Dre is making himself out to be a superhero driving a Ferrari or whatever down this, you know what I mean? Like, come on, man. I was there. I remember that.
Every scene, he had the new car. He's driving to the new house with the pool. They didn't show him fucking tussling with D Barnes and running in the woman's bathroom to continue beating her. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, he continually beat her after he first hit her down the steps and threw her down the steps. Don't romanticize none of that. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I have like a tenuous relationship with a lot of mainstream hip hop and a lot of the narratives in the first place. You know, I grew up really West Coasty, real West Coast underground. And so some of my favorite heroes have been some of the cats that have had the most taken from them. You know, beats for Eminem, you know, Styles, Micah 9 style get picked up by Bone Thugs. You know, all of a sudden this East Coast, West Coast shit is like, yo, Ice Cube straight up aping Volume 10. You know what I mean? And so it's like,
I've not from being from there to have that perspective. That's very interesting and shit. Like I was like, look, I'm a big Cali Agents fan. I run all day talking about them. And
I was listening to Anthem today.
It's Rasco, you know what I'm saying? And it's like people like, what? It's like, you know, they go Planet A. I'm like, no, it's Rasco, you know, but You know what I'm saying? But that is important. You're right. But I think, like, I was talking to somebody about Puffy, and I was like, you have to understand, like, when you used to look at old liner notes, if anybody knows about like font point, like, so Puffy would be produced by Puff Daddy in like 10-point font, but the real producer would be, you know, Carlos Brodus, and it would be in 4-point font. It would be smaller. And but when you look at when you just glance at it, you see his name bigger and bigger, and you think he's producing everything when all he did was change a cymbal crash, or he came in there and told him to take out a snare, but he gets that name and ghost producing and learn it. But that's sometimes the nature of the man next to the man. There's a bunch of Kanye beats, you know, legendary, whatever it has. Because here's the math, it's real quick. So like if Eric Sermon likes your beat, Eric Sermon can go quote more to the label for the beat. So Eric can get 200. Let's just say, let's throw numbers out. Eric can get 100,000 for the beat, but you're unknown. You're just using his name, but I say, but let's say you're Symbolic One before he got picked. You can only get, you know, 5,000 for the beat. So Eric says, no, let me go sell it. We get the hundo. I break you off 30, which is more than you would have made, and then I just get the little credit. But what you're not also paying attention to is he's getting the residuals. He's
just like music.
Yeah. Don't get me started about that double boy. I can't, man. Walking out windows. Look, I've been well documented.
Yeah.
I can't stand Eric Sermon. It's all good. It's not even complicated at this point. It's difficult. My man, Red Man down. All that Muddy Waters bullshit. Whatever. No, I'm just. You know.
It's difficult though, because you know at the same time we grew up with a lot of these cats. We respect them, and so when you start to hear the stories about like what RZA and Devon were doing behind the scenes, and it sours that, but at the same time you like, but the criminality.
Yo, my man got the Wu books. My man has the series of books, The Tower of RZA. You know what I'm saying? And
that's my most disappointing hip hop hero, dog. Like I grew up, my father, God, that's why I'm Mega Master Record. He got a lot. I was God Body back in the day or whatever. And so, you know, I look to Wu and I look to X Clan. I look to these cats to be like the academics and the ones with honor and the ones with integrity. That intro off of Wu-Tang Forever, that, you know, was rapping bullshit. You know what I mean? Stop running the ball. You know, like it's a fashion. A lot of that stuck to me ethically and ideologically, and then they just went elsewhere, and so I had to tunnel underground with the underground cats, hoping they had integrity, and then I get disappointed by the underground cats, you know. So it's just like
sometimes I never meet the idols, but it's all good. Like, you know what I mean? Like everybody got, you know, duality in them. You know what I'm saying?
It's important to keep that type of shit in mind. You know what I mean? Like I don't care to delve into this or put you on the spot because I know these are your people, but there's been a little controversy online between the Jungle Pussy verse and what's going on with Arm & Hammer, and I see people talking about it. I'm just like, bro, I'm so separated from the business of what happened there and what people talking about. It's not for me to make a moral decision on whose side I'm on. It's not for me to even make a decision. I just got to be like, whatever business y'all hand, I hope that it's resolved because I appreciate both artists. And I'm not here to gossip and try to, you know what I mean, take a side or whatever just because I love Woods and I love Jungle Pussy. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes we got to step back and let history unfold without having an opinion on shit off rip just because it's hitting the timeline heavy.
I mean, it's the nature of media and the culture and how it's changed. Back in the day, you had a movie every other year and you had an album every 4 years. So that's when you saw these people, these celebrities. And then that's when the gossip rag started catching traction because we're like, well, what are they doing in between time? Where's the studio? Like, I remember there's all the tales about like back in the day, cats be like, yo, Busta would say I got like 100 joints in the vault. Or Dre be like, yo, this is all these albums you'll never hear. I'm like, what are y'all doing? What are you talking about? What do you mean? Like, I just don't work that way and shit like that. But there was a chance where you could sell mystery. And we're even going to cover that on our podcast. We're going to talk about like from how hip hop has gone from mystery to scholarly. Like now you get behind the scenes. Now you get to know what's going on and stuff. So people are curious and they're going to ask their questions. But I can't control my fans. I don't know what they're doing. I can't tell them not to ask a question or not to go here and seek some truth or whatever. I can just control the story for me. But I think, you know, you can ask, you know, you can go ask people direct, and if they give you the answer, that's it. If it's not, you know, it's to the ether.
People have an interesting relationship with art now. They feel because they can see artists' thoughts all the time, and they might be able to reach out and have a symbol show that the artist saw they position that there's like a parasocial relationship, a responsibility, or like a the thing that was in the way of things before. It's like you couldn't just be like, hey yo, Ghost, what do you really think
Right.
about
Nah,
that? Like,
nah.
now you got people that's online a lot, and it's just like, damn, bro, like I feel sorry for you because I know that I'm seeing the worst of your thoughts, but I'm not seeing your DMs of people pushing you and asking if you're racist or you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm just, maybe I'm too old to be clocked in on the timeline like that. I really don't be online like that. Like, I'm on Discord
just
now.
Don't let the algorithm take you off a cliff. That's it. That's all.
Yeah, man.
Don't let the algorithm.
Shit is mad wild, but yeah. I mean, we kind of going off, and of course, we talking about we talking about business and things, but like we got the message from one of the people in our Discord, and it was like, yo, Castro was asking about y'all this morning on the podcast, and I was like, what did he said? And then I went to check it out, and it was like, yo, who's the Tokyo Cast? And I was like, yeah, that's us. You know what I mean? But get Jet on, and I was like, Jet. I was like, yeah, he must have heard you say something about his voice or something.
Yeah,
like that.
So Jet, yes, let's get to the grid. Jet,
yeah, let's do it.
Brother.
Yeah.
So, if you don't like my voice, right, then that means you don't like anything I do. Like, how can you like anything I do if anything has my voice on it? Because you said you don't like my voice, so I'm like, oh, he can't like this because I'm actually vocal. You can hear me. I'm audible. So maybe on the tracks where I'm not talking, I'm just humming or something like that. Jet's like, all right, I like this song better. Yeah. But no, I'm messing, but I'm being serious. But I was curious.
Okay, I do disagree with that because the way I see it is the voice is one of the like aesthetic elements of a piece of art. So like, for example, I think like Jimi Hendrix Easy Rider is a masterpiece. I don't like his guitar tone on that track. Like if I was playing the guitar on that shit, I'm not a very good guitarist, so I'm certainly no Hendrix, but if I was playing guitar on that, I'd probably, adjust my amp settings a little bit different. I would choose like a certain other thing. What I said immediately after I said I didn't like your voice, and honestly, I take it back, your voice has grown on me a lot, my bad. But
I try, look, I do little things, and I'm playing, but I'm being serious. I try little things.
What?
But like, the funny part of it, Jet, is, and I do want you to expound, is like, so when I heard that, and this is just some artist shit, I hate my rap voice. I don't care what anybody says. I don't like it. And a lot of people like it, and it's very much part of my rap persona is things I'll do with my voice. So when I heard Jet, he said, I don't really like his voice. And I was like, and I have those moments. I know certain artists that I can't take their timbre, or I don't like how they pronounce certain things. So that's why I was like, yo, no, I got to talk to my man. But continue.
But I did say immediately after, I'm pretty sure I was like, that's not a real critique of the record. Yeah. Like, I made it clear that was just like an aesthetic preference on my part. Just as like you might not like the album cover, or you might not like a music video or something like that. I feel like that is, one small element of the more complete package. There's a bunch of MCs whose voices I don't like, who I like, yourself.
No, and I needed you to clear that up for me. If you can have that duality where you don't like their voice, but you might like them, then I can understand your critique.
I think also like at the time, like we were still kind of finding our voice as a channel.
I think so. Yeah.
I don't remember.
I don't like that review. I tried to watch it and I was like, nah, B, I'm good.
Like,
because it was the three y'all. It was the three y'all at one point. I know your man is scheduling. That's why he's not always on the show.
Yeah, he back in the States right now dealing with family stuff. But initially it was a 3. But I feel kind of like, that's my man 100 grand. When he comes back, he's here. Is always a warm chair for him or whatever like that. But Jet and I I feel like we took the channel in a bit of the different direction after he left, and I think it serves us well. But back to the voice shit. Like if I'm being honest too, like I'm always listening to voices. I love voices. I like strange voices. I'm a huge Bus Driver fan. I love Dose One back in the day. Be Real and a lot of these cats. But one of the things that I think, I don't know if I agreed with you on that, but like on the album Tosh, a lot of those beats and your flow on that don't speak to me as much. And I feel like your voice, not necessarily what you're saying, but like the tone didn't work for me as much as it does on like Lil Robert Hutton. Like those type of beats, your voice smacks for me harder, or the Shrapknel shit, or the record shit. So I mean, I guess
for clarity, so do you think that was a matter of the sound bed on Tosh as opposed to Robert Hutton, or was it a matter of the mix and the master?
you know, I'm not an engineer, and
No,
I
no,
didn't.
but just off, just off top, what you think?
But I would say that it was mostly the sound bed.
Okay.
Like some artists to me, they don't work well on some beats. As much as I've been a fan of Bus Driver, he's been in my personal top favorites since probably 2002. A lot of his music, it don't speak to me. I'm like, I don't like what he's doing here, but I appreciate what he's doing as an artist and who he is. For you, like there's some beats that I think I prefer your voiceover. Same thing. I would say the same thing about, Prim. I would say the same thing about Zilla. I say the same thing about virtually every MC I listen to. And it's just like I don't dislike or love your voice, but like in the same way, like I love Aesop Rock's voice. You know what I mean? Like I love and Jet don't care for him that much either because he don't like his voice. It's hard to tell somebody like, nah, but really just listen to Bus Driver and don't worry about the voice. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, some people just ring out different. But
all right, so I got a question for y'all because this is interesting. So you said Be Real. So did anything happen to y'all being a fan of Be Real when you found out that he kind of like created that voice for his MC persona? He didn't rap like that kind of initially, and then he made that the voice that actually took them and ran with it. How you feel about like that? Things like
I thought it was a great choice. It makes him stand out stylistically, and also I was happy for the man that he didn't sound like that everyday speaking because that's a rough one to grow up in Los Angeles. You know
but and he did go. He went left when they was right because they went. Everybody else is rapping a certain way, and he said like, "Okay, all right."
I think stylistically, Be Real is like to me, his voice is one of the larger components of his style, whereas to me, your voice is not a primary thing that I'm thinking about when I listen to you. Your content is, whereas it's opposite for me and Be Real. Like I hear on like, how does he sound over this? What is he gonna, you know what I mean? I don't care what he's saying a lot of the time, but with you, it's like, okay, even though I don't love this beat, this fool's going off. You know what I mean? This is ill.
Me and Zilla were having a conversation about like MCs we knew through time and like vocal choices and shit. Like, so cats that over time maybe deepen their voice or started playing with it a little bit more, like Pharaoh Monch, for instance. After Organized Confusion dissolved, he was doing a lot of interesting things with his voice. And the reverse singing he was doing and stuff and trying things out. So it's always I love this discourse. So like Jet, thank you. Trust me, like I love this discourse.
I want to know. Like I was
on the craft. You know what I mean?
Pardon me for interrupting, but I was thinking about I just as I was planning thinking about this conversation with you, and for some reason I was like, you know what, like I could go back and listen to a lot of Curly, I could listen to the review, but for some reason I was like, let me go back and listen. Some reason I just wanted to listen to old Alaska, and if you listen to where Alaska's rhyme style has changed over the years, like that's the choice he's making. But old Alaska, center of the web, painting words, those extra long run-on sentences with you know what I mean? Like that was like a stylistic thing that I was always heavily down with, and he don't really do it like that no more. He's more meter, he's more bari like that.
So Alaska don't even know. I say it to him all the time. He was a big influence. I was such a fan of Hangar 18 before I knew him. A big fan of the multi-platinum debut album. And because of the styles they would pick. And I always ask him like behind the scenes, like, all right, so did you or Wind and Breeze pick the style and then you copied, or how did y'all? Because you think they're in the lab like scientists with lab coats on, like, yo, man, let's try this eighth octagon, fourth dimensional style. And he says it was a stylistic choice, even just getting older as a person. He takes his time now. And there's a lot more. He makes so much more. His clarity. He makes so much more sense now. Period. Where there was a little way more abstraction. He came up in the freestyle era, so it's just like rhyming words fast as you can. The submachine gun flows and stuff. And now he seems like he comes off more as like a master. Like back in the day, he used to punch with all his fury and shit, and it was dazzling. Now you could just block and punch once and take it all out. And he definitely made that choice. I asked him about it, but yeah, I think he could still do it. He can still do it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like I don't know, there was a track called Painting Words that came out maybe around, I feel like I heard around like 2002 or whatever. And it was an early track with the Adams Fam and Anticon. It was Soul, Alias, and Dose on it. And it was Cryptic, Vordo, and Alaska on it, right? And this is probably before, the problems with Anticon came with LP and whatnot, but
Mm-hmm.
the way that him and Vordo are going back and forth on that track, that's like the real Meth versus Chef shit. They're one upping each other on these sentences, and they're just like long form sentences. He said, my thoughts slipped in states of you better recognize, like colorblind gangbangers stacking in the back of national sign language conventions. And then Vordo's like, did I mention I represent like no leg Timmy in a wheelchair basketball tournament on the other side of the floor screaming, gimme. Bro, they're long form. Like I was going to ask him in the Discord, like, yo, did y'all write that together? Because y'all was really like that.
So here's a little gem. And Jack probably hear it. So before Cannibal Ox formed, Alaska and Vordo were a group. I can't remember their full name, but it had like Tetsuo in it, and it was like Tetsuo from Akira or something like that. And so they had a group. So any type of synergy you see between the two of them is because they were like a duo for a second. And doing stuff. And so
we missed out not having that come to fruition.
Because, I mean, like the Star Wars is crazy. Like, you know, so they were just really, and he always told me around then they wasn't digging a lot of shit because they were so into their own shit, pushing their fucking envelope and trying to redouble their styles and remaster and recalibrate, you know what I'm saying, what even rap recording was, as far as even like trying to accomplish these triple, quadruple entendres and doubles and all the shit they was doing back then. You know, they was really trying. I'm pretty sure on the West Coast they was doing the same. I remember catching up later how much they were chopping on the West Coast.
Sing song, double time chopping. Yeah.
And
they're like jazz players out there.
Yeah, so they, you know what I'm saying, just going with it. And so out here we were doing this whole, you know, pushing the vocabulary and really just like trying
it seemed more linguistic to me, more linguistic in a way, you know, but that's also like the, you know, the tradition of intricate raps come from, you know, the New York stylers and, you know, your Big Daddy Kanes and even your Cool Keiths and Rakims, you know, like I feel like on the West Coast, jazz and styling was a little bit a more pronounced approach than on the East Coast, where it's like very, very like literary, not being literal, but like academic, like big words, sentence structure, poetic devices. And when you get into that pocket of like post Telecommunications Act, like 97 oddball shit, like Fun Crusher Plus, a lot of the fools like Alaska and all the Adams fam, they were just like, yo, what rules are there? We about to break every single one. Like
I remember when LP was doing the layered lines. So it's like you kind of write what you want because you're just gonna punch in underneath. So the meter doesn't matter as much. You know what I'm saying? Or hitting, like, you know what I'm saying? You know, when you first start rapping or anything, you're a metronome. So like you kind of you fall into the rhythm just by practicing the craft or whatever. And they were just like, nah, there's more rhythm to the craft. There's more ways to break it out and fractal it and divide it and multiply it and shit. And it was always just dazzling because again, with that era, it was always like, God damn, one after the other, after the other, after the other. It was all that quality. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we were spoiled now. There was all that quality. So I'm just hoping we, you know, replicating that same type. But I'll just shit. Wait till y'all hear this Cavalier record. Man, come on, man. Stop.
Why you gotta rub it in? You know, like
people don't know. I'm talking about it.
I'm one of the biggest Cavalier fans, bro.
Look,
I love Cav, I've been waiting.
There's vocal features on it, but it's just him rhyming. There's no other feature verses on this whole thing. He's just Cavalier's master craftsman. Private Stock was off the chain. I've told him that many times to his face and shit. But y'all gonna really like this next joint.
I love Cav. To me, he's like he reminds me a lot of like Breeze in the way that he kind of circumvents what you think he's about to rhyme with, or how he connects a rhyme that you weren't even expecting. Like Cav is on some real like jazz drumming style. Like his rhythms and his intonation, it feel like he got polyrhythms and ghost notes going off. But as an MC, like Cav is doing something real special. And I seen a picture of my man at a show, and he was dressed in like full cowboy regalia. I was like,
it was low down. Don't get that twisted. It was low down. The shirt was a low classic. So Cav is driven by, he's a master of flow, but he's also a master of vocabulary. So one spills into the other. and he has a cachet, so he can pull on a phrase and he can pull on a word that's so intricate that it's gonna make the rhyme scheme so beautiful. You know what I'm saying? When you have that ether you can reach into and pull out some phrase from some movie that also is a long form word, and it's just gonna keep spilling out. Like Cab just seems like he could just rhyme for eternity. You know what I'm saying?
Is it public knowledge of who's doing the production on the album? I won't be up on it like that.
I think he made a post, and it has a list of the producers on there, but I think you just got to check him. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, I think there was a track list.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be tapped in. I don't be tapped in like that, which is, you know, I've been happy to be on a Discord recently. I just really started rocking with it like a couple months ago, and now I feel like I know everything that's coming out. But before that, I just, you know, I wasn't really tapped in. I just too busy doing, like, my attention be elsewhere. You know what I mean? As much as I love hip hop, I haven't listened, you know, like I said, we Patrons for y'all, but I haven't listened to y'all for a whole minute just because I don't be listening to podcasts. But
come on back, brother. Like we did a nice string of episodes this last like 2-3 months.
I saw the
joints in there.
I saw the headline for the Blaze 50 joint, and I remember when that magazine came out.
Yo, that shit is crazy because we just wanted to see what connects in terms of 25 years and shit. And some things actually work, but then also there was like this underlying, we even say that in the episode, is the underlying critique that they were doing. So like, at the point of the magazine at 99, you could tell if somebody recently had like a bad album, 1 or 2 before that, they were penalized for their whole thing, especially with the big list they were doing in there and stuff. And so they had a little agenda, and they're also trying to be like right-fisted up a lot. And so they would kind of hate on a little bit more mainstream cats. But it's still interesting, a good look back. And especially because you like check the game though. You didn't even know Blaze was only around for like 1 year and it was done.
What?
You go look at it. So it was around for 1 year and it was gone. You think it's
shit.
It's the Blaze battle.
That sounds like wrong to me in so many ways, but you know, I trust your knowledge on it.
I mean, look it up. You'll see that they did not exist long.
You know, 99 I'm in the 11th grade, so like I'm not necessarily paying that close attention to the magazines. You know, I pick them up. I was mostly just trying to like finger bang girls and, you know what I mean, figure it out in high school. You know what I mean?
But then when you look back, like it's just like even like, fuck it, I take it back to some dirty shit. Star Trek original version, people think it's like 20 seasons. It's 2. It was just mad episodes. It just seems like, and then it went into syndication immediately. So it just makes your mind think that there was so many seasons and episodes. But yeah,
that's wild. Different. That's extremely wild. I imagine. I mean, a year is crazy. If you told me like 4 years, I'd be like, okay.
Nah, I think they pumped out. All right, so here what we found out is like the first issue is like 4 times the thickness of like the second issue. Because it's just pumped with ads, and NASA has experience working in print media and stuff. And he said what they probably were doing was low balling and getting all of these great deals for all these ads. So the first issue was like there's 35 clothing ads in the first issue.
You gotta get that.
And it's funny, we looked it up. Out of those 35 clothing ads, maybe 2 still exist. Everything else is gone. So it's just also looking at the finality of, you know, it was 99 right before the Y2K. I mean, y'all of different ages, but everybody thought, you know, oh shit, planes gonna fall out the sky, everything's gonna go black for like 4 minutes and reboot because the computers and shit. So it was just an interesting time.
Busta Rhymes told me there's only 5 years left, and I was thinking, I was counting them down.
Busta's count was all. Remember when it was like 2001? He still said it was like 2 years left. He was doing all types of crazy shit with his calendar and shit.
He had a young guy body in me, real stressed out. I was like, I don't want to go to college. Yeah, I might have went to college if it wasn't for Busta.
Yo, man, another Busta intro, man. I can't handle it, man. I can't take it, man.
Yeah,
straight up.
I wonder though, what is your relationship with reviews now? Like for your own work and for other people, do you follow reviews or?
Oh God, yes, man. I'm conscious about it. I just want to see what gears are clicking. So even now, like, so we're dropping a record this year, Shrapknel, and so I went back and looked at some old reviews just to see like what it was sparking. I like to see the reaction. So, you know, with music, it's a selfless act. You're just throwing it out there. You know what I'm saying? And at times it's not a boomerang. It's not going to come right back to you. So you got to figure out, you know, how the people going to react to it. You kind of got to just let it go. You know what I'm saying? So I love reviews. I love people that even just, like I said, when you take the time, because you don't have to, you know what I'm saying? And my big thing when I was like a little baby MC, I always wanted people just to break down my shit. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted people to, oh, word, this is what you meant and shit. I'm like, nah, I meant this. And I just always wanted that discourse forever. And so, like reviews, I just always appreciate it. I'm just real appreciative of it.
Do you look into reviews for like your contemporaries or even artists that you're interested in that you might not collab with? Like, are you reading like Pitchfork reviews about, I don't know who just dropped, you know, like an ST Knack review or some shit like that? You pay attention
I dabble
to
because I'm really into discourse. So even when I and my girl hates me for this, but I see a movie, immediately I look up like the 15 YouTube breakdowns of the movie. I gotta see, I want to see the nooks and the crannies, what's going on behind the scenes if I can. So now I want to be fully immersed in the experience of making a movie with what you were trying to express. And so you're right. So when there's peers and certain things they drop, I want to see what people think about it. So like Pitchfork is an interesting one because I know that you got to separate the number grade from the actual literary piece because they're not one and the same. They're like outsourced and stuff. So Pitchfork is an interesting one. I just want to see what people say. You know, big shouts to Dylan and stuff like that for all the work he does for us there. And other ones I just want to see, like, so one of the funny ones is to me is like when, you know, when Arm & Hammer or Woods drop something, some people tripping over themselves with the reviews when it's just literary. Like I even asked him and he says all against all, there's no iron team, you know, when he starts Trauma Mike. I say, yo, what does that mean? He said, no, just that's all it meant. That's it. It's just literary. It didn't mean it's not like cryptic or going back to some African despot or nothing. It's like, no, just there's no iron team.
Lord James said iron, you know what I mean?
Yeah. They go crazy over this shit, yo. They go wild, my boy shit, yo. They'll start bringing out, oh man, look at the pentagram here. The same way that like people go crazy with Jay-Z. Like now it's like, look at all the Baphomet horns and how many times, how many pentagrams in the video, and how much red is there and shit. And I'm like, yo, man, baby, you know, when Little X was making videos, did he not use red to not, you know, just sometimes just pump your brakes, man. Just do your best. But you know, I'm appreciative of it because I like people. Like I said, I'm very much into the scholarly aspect of this hip hop thing. It's very.
Do you peep like some of the websites like Rate Your Music or Album of the Year? Like I know a lot of my I don't go on any of these websites, but a lot of my friends like really into like documenting everything they listen to, giving their opinions on it, the ratings, all that shit.
Yeah, the RYM shit, maybe not so much because sometimes that ties into like the rap genius shit where I think this is all off base. Like who knows? Like sometimes it gets too that's where AI is like really bad because it gets too much a computer trying to analyze what this literary thing might say when they don't understand the context or the nuance and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if somebody raps, take out my gun, blam, 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 look out for Florida, damn. Nobody knows that unless they watch Good Times and shit like that and can relate to, oh, that's Florida, you know what I'm saying? And they then have that moment. That's a lot of my lyrics is like, I want to take you to, so I'll reference a movie or whatever like that, but I want to take you to what you felt when you watched that movie, when you watched House Party and shit like that. And when you seen Lorraine run from the projects and shit, or the Kool-Aid and the sugar and shit like that. Or when, you know, I love all that shit because I'm gonna take you there because I'm there. You know what I'm saying? And so if I could sprinkle a couple of word play and juxtapose something that makes you go right back to that moment like I do when I'm watching a movie and then make you tie into what the song is and by the bang. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Word. I think that's a pretty interesting transition because it's one thing that I've noticed about like it's a peculiar and a reoccurring theme that you have throughout your music, whether it's in song titles like Kill Her Priest or the album titles, Little Robert Hutton, or you making a reference to, like Black Hole Sun and incorporating a lot of like especially Black cultural touch points in your music. Like, is that like, are you trying to like meet a certain demographic that might catch that, or is it just because that's where your attention is at the time? You guys, you often talk about, like, you'll use a simile and talk about like a rapper, right? And I know y'all be talking about rappers all the time on Call Out Culture. So is it just that it's in your head, or is it you hear the beat and you want to call back something?
I mean, over time, I've become, pretty referential. I hope, I apologize to my fans. I hope I'm not like The Game, Well, I'm just saying, like,
You're not corny like that. Nah.
I at least think I'll be clever with it. I'll be like, you know what I'm saying, the Bobby Brown kick out the helicopter, you know, like some funny shit like that. Like, so but it is my Megan, to answer your question, it is my my reference point. Like, you know, I'm very much steeped in, you know, African American studies, African American history, the whole diaspora, African history. And so to me, as I'm writing or I'm coming up with things, that's what I relate with. And so that's how it's the best way for me to express that. You know what I'm saying? So if it's a reference to a Good Times episode or Benjamin Banneker or whatever the fuck, like that's where I'm going. Like a lot of people, it's funny because like I'm not into cars. I never had no car, so I can't really talk about a whole bunch of cars and all the Qs and LS. I don't know what the fuck that means. You know what I'm saying? But you know, ask me about some you know, Black history, and we could sit down and we could chat. So you know, a lot of my music just comes out that way. Yeah,
I think that's one of the things that really elevates your work beyond just hella good rhyming and picking good beats. Like your music is full of like Black anti-imperialist, anti-capitalist, anti-white supremacy themes, and it's not so explicit where it's like, here's a song about, you know, CLR James, you know what I mean, or redlining or gentrification. You don't do that, but you do incorporate a lot of these things. So you'll get something that is like CLR James, even your name Castro and your first album Fidel. Obviously, that points to a certain political ideology or you know, a political project. And I even believe, like, you know, little Bobby Hutton was himself like a Marxist Leninist along with the Black Panthers. I don't want to like remove the mystique or anything like that, but if I was speaking to you in person, I would be curious, like, what do you care to describe your political ideology? Like Jed and I are both Marxists of mixed degrees. I call myself a Pan-African socialist, you know, but Marxism and materialism is the primary lens that I use to you know, look at the material conditions in the world. Do you have like a political ideology? Would you say you're a socialist?
I don't know if I can nail down any particular platform, because sometimes I do morph and take from here and there, you know what I'm saying? And it's hard for me to define, because I remember for a long time I didn't even understand what the left and right wing thing, what the hell that was. And I remember getting confused. I'm be dead ass. I remember getting confused with conservative and like liberal, and I was like, what? Like I got it reversed one time and shit like that. So sometimes it doesn't fit in a neat line and shit like that. And I also came up in a very interesting time. I went to school in the 90s, you know what I'm saying? Coming off of living in New York in the 80s and 90s, where a lot of the racial stuff was being set off right in front of me and shit like that. And so when I went to school, I'll give you a quick twist. When I went to school, I came to Philly and went to Temple, and immediately that was my brain was kind of wired. I was like, yo, where's the Mamiya stuff? Like that was the time period. It was mid 90s. I was like, where's the Mamiya protest? And it was a protest on campus and shit like that. And I'm standing around looking for it. I'm kind of angsty. I'm like, I don't know what it's gonna look like, whatever. And a group of white people kind of passed, and they were doing something. In my mind, they were doing something or whatever. And they just walked. And it was a bunch of them or whatever. So I go up to this brother. I'm like, yo, where's the Mamiya rally? He said, yo, they just walked by you. I said, what are you talking about? And he said, yeah, all those white people with those pickets and stuff. Yeah, that was the Mamiya route. I was like, what? And it started tripping me out about like who actually participates in these things, who galvanizes these things, and what's their agendas and their goals and stuff like that. So like, you know, I'm an avid voter. I came up with my grandma did this, so I have to vote. You know, that's just how, you know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. And but I also had a big spat of like, I was a rebel. Like I was running around campus going crazy. Seriously, my hair was all crazy. I was wearing like ponchos, like I was in Vietnam, dead ass, yo. And so like I'll be in class and somebody say something half racial, I'll flip desks. And I was all over the place back then. So you have to calm it down. You got to focus it, you know, more with a more laser focus. So, you know, the long story short, sorry. So then I'm an MC. That's my political platform. I'm an MC. And I take the history of MCs taking topics seriously. I take that seriously. I came up in the era where, you know, Dead Prez snuck in. I used to know the girl that did their artwork, and I remember they had to remember it was all the children on the front, the child soldiers with the guns up. And remember, if you were cognizant of it, there was a sticker that had like the little featuring this, and it would go over the guns. And that's the only way they were able to get that cover out there. She came up with putting this sticker over the top of the gun, so it looks like the kids are like, you know, blurred out or whatever like that. And them able to sneak in a lot of their political jabs. And I also came up in the era where like Harris One was teaching me stuff. Razzcast was teaching me stuff. When they would rap, I'm writing down what they're saying and looking it up. You know what I'm saying? My supplemental education and stuff. And so we have that responsibility too, if we can. You know what I mean? If you're distinct, if you got the skills to put it in that type of package, you know, Woods talks about it all the time. I try to, you know, want to keep it hotter than a book, you know, look, that wasn't wrong, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing with putting in a rhyme, man. Like these kids are activated by these rhythms and shit like that. You know, some of them, a lot of them, unfortunately, and this is what I don't like about this new generation, they don't read. They don't read. And I'm not talking about you got to be in a library sitting lotus style with a stack of books on each other. Read magazines, read comics, read pieces, things that are written, like the word. Don't lose the track of the word. Don't just scroll and stuff. That's speed reading. You're not even you're skimming. You know what I'm saying? You're not even being a completed. So yeah, so that's why I stand on that. You know.
Word. I appreciate it though, because it does stand out in your work. I mean, even your name, like I said, Curly Castro, the first thing that denotes to me is not, you know, Castor Troy or some other shit. It's Fidel Castro, you know what I mean? And
yeah, but I couldn't be no communist. It just like absolute power corrupts absolutely. So the transition from, you know, everybody having power and freedom, and then we got to put a little despot there for a second. That's never gonna work. That person's not gonna step off when you establish some utilitarian type of sharing of power. So there's a lot of things that I stop short on. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to be a Rastafarian, but a lot of things I can't bang with. So like I stop short. So you know, I'll take what I can.
Yeah. You know, I know on our channel sometimes we delve a little bit deeper into those themes and read into ideology more than is ultimately necessary. It's one of the things that I felt about the structural dynamics of flow. Like we kind of looked at.
Wait till y'all hear the next joint. They said wait till y'all hear the next dumb fucking Alaska joint.
I'm hoping that he's kind enough to send it to us beforehand so we could put it out.
Because you got to talk to the guy, but I'm just saying.
I think we might get it. You know what I mean? I feel like we people now, but I don't want to put expectations on anybody.
I'll say something to him. I'll say something to him since he made this introduction so smooth.
I'm hyped. But you know, like it is like a big part of what we do is we do critique a lot of like themes in music and ideology. So sometimes if we got an artist like Planet Asia who is God Body, I'll dig into that because I came up God Body, and so I have a strong critique about those politics, and I will put them against some of the themes that he's talking about or how they relate to, you know, neoliberalism and capitalism. But ultimately, like, a big part of that for us is not necessarily to critique the art, but to broaden the conversation. And that's one of the reasons that when I was listening back to your Shrapknel review, and also one of the reasons I felt disappointed that we didn't get to Lil Robert Hutton, is that I really want to have an opportunity to kind of point out some of these things that you're doing and these references that you're making that I feel are important to that kind of revolutionary machinery, a cog in the system. Not necessarily, it's not you know, with an actual vehicle, but you do play a part in that just with your critiques. You know what I mean? And so that's one thing that I really fuck with about your music, because I feel like you meet people where they're at, whereas some other artists, it's a little bit hard to engage, and you really have to, like with Woods is Woods is an easy listen. It sounds dope, but every time I listen to Woods, I'm like, yo, what kind of food is that, bro? Like, I never even heard of this. You know, with you, I'm just like, bro, these are bars, and they meet me, you know, kind of on a street level where I'm at. Whereas Woods is kind of academic off that shit. You know what I mean?
Like, look, with Woods in though, straight up, this is the it's the magic of discovery. So like on Black Label, they got a song called Fulgurite. And I was like, what the fuck is that? And it's like fossilized lightning. So when lightning hits or something and it captures itself. And I'm just like, yo, y'all bug it. And then like things like aubergine, which is like for like fruit, vegetable and shit like that. And I think with my shit, it's a little bit more like I was an academic in my hood, straight up. Like, so I was a kid that was like, had a little higher IQ, whatever. I went to some gifted classes and stuff. So I grew up in my neighborhood, but I went to school with a bunch of white kids and stuff. And so we were exposed you know what I'm saying, to some different shit. Like they force us to take fucking French and shit. Like instead of Spanish, I'm living weird Spanish motherfuckers. Why I'm not learning Spanish? Whatever. We're doing science projects every quarter and shit, like mandatory. They ain't letting it slide. Like some kids, I was like, yo, you ain't do your science. They like, I ain't doing no science for and shit like that. So there was there's a premium to, like, you know what I'm saying, being intellectual. I always say, like, intelligence is not a handicap. Like, you know, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you got to be smart in these fucking streets and shit. And I've had experiences like that too. You know what I'm saying? And so you got to meld the two. It's very important, you know what I'm saying, to be adept at both, to know how to handle yourself in a split second and also be able to sit down and strategize. That's how I feel like they intersect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I know a little bit about being like the smart, weird kid and still being around, like, you know, different groups or whatever. I grew up in Cali, so it's pretty diverse, but also I grew up in the 90s during gang violence and in Oceanside and Inglewood. We couldn't wear red or blue or black or Raiders, and Rodney King Riot was next door. So, like, you know, I was back then, it wasn't like Cass was on comic books like that. You know what I mean? But like they are now. But we was on comic books.
I was,
and so when I hear, you know, like Weapon 13X, I'm like, bro, that means me right where I grew up. You know, that means me at 13. That means me at Wolverine. You know what I mean?
Thank you, brother. That's it, yo. That's all I'm trying to meld the two. Like,
I mean,
you know what I'm saying? It's all to the good. It's all to
that's
the good.
really ill, man. Like, I do have a couple more questions about. Excuse me a second. I do have a couple more questions about, like, your songcraft and your approach. How do you? Let me think of how I want to approach it. So, like, when it comes to songcraft and your styling, do you write to the beat, or do you write and then, you know, meld it to a beat, or mix and match things depending on the sound? Is like, does it come out as a verse on a piece of paper first, or does the beat hit you first and you write it to it? Is it a mix?
I lean more towards the beats playing a lot when I'm writing. So, like, if I can't, like, if I have to, I'll try to, like, listen to the beat, you know, good 30 seconds strong, and then try to keep that and then write to it. Because I'm a big editor. So if I write to the beat and then I stop writing to the beat and I just keep writing to what I think the rhythm is, and I'm walking around or whatever like that, and I come back and it don't match up, I'm gonna cut this damn shit up. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go back and fix it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just gonna stick to my guns like that. So I'm very much rhythm driven in that sense. And then some of the I feel like sometimes I'll try to square peg a circle. Like, I'll have an idea for a song that I kind of want to fit to this thing. And so, like I said, I'm a big editor. So I'll just kind of morph and bend it to kind of fit it, even if it's not, that wasn't an original idea to that beat. But I definitely write to beats way more than I write to just space.
Is the process the same for your solo stuff and the stuff you're doing with Prem, or do you, like, factor that collaboration in when you're writing your verses?
Very different. I can say that with very different, because with Prem on Shrapknel shit, I'm only responsible, well, in essence, half the song. And there's a certain confidence that comes with my partner is ill as hell. And so I only got to come over my half. All right. So then I could either more focus intently on my half, and I don't have to worry about the other half. But then there's other things like hooks and bridges and stuff that we come up with collaborative. But when you're by yourself, you're by yourself. And so I come up with everything. I cut some things. I revise some things. I bring, you know what I'm saying? It's my whole cachet. So I might have something that was sitting around. I can bring that in. With Shrapknel, it's more like new writings. I don't really like recycle anything for Shrapknel. It's always like on the spot. But with my
a give and take between both y'all and the producers. Okay.
Big time.
I know you said that, you know, you're into reading and editing, and also, you know, as you watch a movie, you like to, you know, go and think about it, and obviously your attention is on more than just music. I'm wondering, like, what would you compare your style to that is non-musical? You know, like, for me, and sometimes when I think about Billy Woods, I think about graffiti. You know, I think about vandalism. I think about it being in your face, hard to read, but there's an intention there. There's colors. And also at the end of the day, it's also illegal. Sometimes when I listen to, you know, like I said, Cavalier, he's kind of like a jazz drummer. Sometimes you know, like, I was a b-boy, so I used to think about my own rhymes in terms of, like, almost how I would approach b-boying. Is there like a non-musical? I know breaking is musical as it is, but is there like a non-musical inspiration that you feel you could compare your music to, like a writer or a director or a form of art that you feel kind of?
Okay, I could do that. I think there's a lot of Spike Lee in my shit, and but also mix that with the Are you familiar with the practice of like Nyabingi? Where
No,
so it's like the
manifest
Rastafarian
it.
practice of like the elders of the enclave, they all meet up and in a circle and they put the chalice down and it's exchanging ideas. So they're burning, but they're also talking about the the enclaves, the goings ons and exchanging ideas of how to salute this or what's going on here. And I feel like my style is like that. It's a lot of exchanging ideas. Like it's so much ephemera that I try to absorb and then regurgitate back, because I just feel like I want to be also an archivist. Don't forget, like I'm big on, like I watch a bunch of 80s shit, 90s shit, and I'm like, oh shit, don't forget, don't forget what's happening. Don't forget, like it's important to hold on to it. Don't forget, give me a break. Like I'll take you all the way back. You know what I'm saying? Don't forget Transformers and shit, like G.I. Joe, whatever, because all that stuff is important to remember. The same way we like to remember the pyramids, the same way we like to remember, all of the great things people of color. Well, shit, I don't like that even term. All the things, like great things Black people have done. Don't forget. And so, like with my style being referential as it is, I'm gonna pull something. You know what I'm saying, to make you. What did he say? Oh man, let me go look that up. Oh shoot! And then the way media is absorbed now, I might make a reference. And then you go watch 6 episodes of the show. You know what I'm saying? Just over a binge. Or I might make a reference and you pick the book back up. I'm big on that. Like, pick your books back up. I'll try to tell people all the time, like, you read them under different circumstances, especially if you're academic, you read it for a class or whatever. Pick that book back up and read it again. It's not there the same way anymore. You might discover things. I know people that read the Color Book 4 times and shit. I read an autobiography of Malcolm X 3 times. Like, you gotta, what I'm saying? It's not regurgitation. Like I say, I always say intelligence ain't no handicap. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that would be my thing. Like Spike Lee type director, you know what I'm saying, with a lot of little golden nuggets in there, and also like the practice of Nyabingi, like the exchanging of ideas.
Word. Yeah, like community, the community town hall, the cipher. Is that your parents and your folks are from Barbados? Is that your
from my mom's side? Yeah, so we Bayesian and shit. Yeah, so we from Barbados. I'm like,
is that a practice from that culture, or is it African?
No, that's more Rastafarian, Jamaican, like in like basic practice.
Okay, power.
Yeah.
No, I'm not familiar with that, but I can see it. I can see exactly what you're saying. I understand. Yeah.
Right. Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'll overstand that to get back in my body bag. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
But how do you I want to get to, the new release. Like I was laughing because when you on Call Out Culture, when he's like, yeah, I want to talk to them. I forget who it was, if it was Alaska or Zilla, that was like, what, you trying to get some free promo for the album? And it's like now I want to get to the new album a little bit, but I did also have a question about how you think your music career is now as it stands. Like, how do you think that your art will ripple out? And I know that on Call Out Culture, you guys are big into disseminating actual history of the culture and what was really going on and how people felt about things and what was going on at the time. How do you feel that your work ripples out now? Do you see a separation between you as an artist and you as a podcaster, and what do you want people to get from your art?
Well, it's interesting. There's a certain duality to it, because sometimes when I'm on tour, that's been happening recently, is like, we doing our thing and it's mainly Shrapknel stuff, and somebody runs up to me and says something about the podcast, and I'm not in that mode. I'm like, oh shoot, and then what I'm saying, I'm like, yeah, and it's good that there's that I'm able to hit people in both ways. You know what I'm saying? So not only is my MCing somewhat successful and spreads out to the people, that you also can sit down and hear, like, me shoot shit with my boys about some hip hop shit or whatever, or something something pertaining to. So I like both. You know what I mean? Because I used to do a podcast before I did Call Out Culture. It was this podcast called my podcast has no name, and it was a Game of Thrones podcast. And so we broke down that shit like to the molecules, episode by episode, and all that shit. We was really breaking it down when it was a thing. And so I felt like, okay, I got my feet wet. It's still cool. And then when we all came up, it was like a triple idea to do the pod. And we just grew it from like real modest beginnings, and I'm hopefully still doing the good work and shit like that. So I'm appreciative of that. And so I just hope that my my music has staying power and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? We talked about, my own personal condition and stuff like that. So I gotta leave something. I mean that. You know what I mean? And so music is one of the great ways to be immortal. You know what I mean?
No
People
doubt.
still pull fucking dusty ass bins are gonna be here forever. You know what I mean? And so
No doubt.
if somebody could go back and like, yo, I remember that time. Like, this is a good time for us. We in it.
Yeah.
I won't, it's not cliche to say like new renaissance, but we on some good shit right now.
I agree with you.
Great time.
Yeah.
People can be jaded if they want and miss the train coming. Like, it's so much good music out there. People are really giving birth to really great ideas, some good rhythms, some good throwbacks, some good future shit, some good present shit right here today and now. And so I'm just glad to be even a little part of that.
I agree with that 100%, man. You hear my adoration for Alaska, and you asked Joe Budden who Alaska is. You asked a lot of these cats who Alaska is, and they wasn't there for that. But to me, again, that art has staying power, and for me, it's helped forge my own ethics and my positions, and I do believe that you're a part of that. And now, right now, like, people try to tell me hip hop is dead. I'm like, where are you at? Like, I don't even have time to listen to everything that's good right now. Like, I'm overwhelmed.
That's it. It seems like that's just some cliche that somebody picked up in a bathroom stall. Like, y'all don't even know it's y'all blind to the facts, as Flav say. Like, seriously.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of cats who was fan of the radio, and then when the radio changed, they ain't know where to go with it, and so they still holding on to ideas of nostalgia during their golden age of loving to hear Funk Flex play Buckshot on the radio
and bomb it. Yo, that motherfucker got on my nerves when he did the fucking Pheromont shit like 8 in a row, but you're playing bombs through the whole thing. I can't even hear the song. Oh, come on, Flex. He used to kill me with that shit. Yeah, but
Word. Yeah. I do feel like your project, Little Robert Hutton, kind of feels like a magnum opus for you, and it feels, I asked Alaska I asked, like, are there any questions y'all would like me to ask, and Alaska said that he felt like that album was a pivotal statement for the culture, and he compared it to the Cold Vein in a way, and I don't disagree with him. I think that album is actually phenomenal and dope. Like, how do you feel about the success of that project, and does it feel like a magnum opus for you so far? Or
I mean, I wanted to make a definitive piece. I was very much into the Black Panther Party as I came up as an academic. I did a lot of study on them, and so I was very envious. Seriously, very envious of the movement and how they had success and what they were doing, and how we can't like even replicate it. And so there was like even not little, but there's Black Panther parties in Philadelphia for whatever that's worth, and like one of the leaders, he's a scumbag, whatever. So it's a lot of that. And so when I was approaching Little Robert Hutton, I was like, okay, I'm gonna make my statement here on my Black Fist. I don't give a fuck. You're gonna hear about everything that I believe in and how it makes me feel, these things that are happening and shit like that. And I remember just being like really unapologetic, because there's a lot of times I was in groups when I was coming up, so there's a lot of compromise. So when I was in a group back in the day, I couldn't really talk my Black Power shit because it didn't function the group or the song per se. You know what I'm saying? We talking about some songs that we talk about being in a bar. I didn't want, peace and power to him, but I didn't want to be by 10 where I start up in the bar and now, now I'm in Svengali with the girl hanging upside down. Like I couldn't, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't make that hard left. So I remember when I really solidified my solo career, I was like, yo, that's what I'm gonna do. And Little Robert Hutton was that. And also just to give praise to Bobby Hutton, Lil Bobby, and just go in that route. And again, like sometimes even with Tosh, like that was my attempt to that leans into my heritage, being Bayesian and stuff like that. And so there's a lot of little yardie shit on there and things of that nature in that vein. And a lot of times I just want to be respectful in how I'm presenting my opinion, my version through my art. I want people to think like, not that I'm like, taking a piss or just, running up a flag just for shit's sake. I'm not Drake. I'm not trying on accents every album. You know what I'm saying? So with me, it's about authenticity. And so Little Robert Hutton, I really like just try to put my foot in it and make it into something. And so look, funny thing is, shit, it's paralyzing me on my next record. I'm already on that. And I know it's not the same grand statement. I'm just making more records. And so sometimes I hold you back like, yo, man, this shit ain't big enough, yo. This song ain't this song. about lollipops. They ain't gonna cut it, man. You was talking about motherfucking Fred Hampton and shit. Now you talking lollipops, nigga. You know what I'm saying? So that's just the creative cycle you get into and shit like that. But yeah, I was really proud of that project. I'm looking at it right now. Sitting over there.
Do we have a solo project coming up, or is the next project a Shrapknel project? Is that what I'm hearing?
So the project dropping there this summer is a Shrapknel record. So we got that in the bag. Just at the manufacturers. So, you know.
Okay, so it's all completed and done and
turned in and everything. Is entirely produced by Controller 7. If anybody,
hey, shout out to Controller 7.
Yeah, yes,
I've been rocking with him for 25 years. I was
Antcon, like exactly right. And I forgot. I didn't even when I got with 7, I didn't even realize that he went back to Antcon. I remember he was around back then, but I didn't know he was like one of their main producers back then. So yeah, he has long legs in this, and so he did a hell of a job. Like he, this is one of our first times. You know, we'll sprinkle it around. I think our first record was like mostly Elusive, but it was also Willie Green on there. And then if y'all listen later on, we had supplemental material like August Fanon and stuff like that. But this record is our first time with just one producer all the way through.
Okay.
We usually do a little thing like we'll give a producer the most of the meat on the bone and then sprinkle it with other sounds that we think we need. But the way our approach was and how 7 came to us with an idea and we expanded on it, the idea, it was just it was a no-brainer. He produced the whole thing. The post-production is beautiful. Like it's a really good record. It's our best work. I can say that.
His album with Video Dave was really unique. What did it drop last year?
Yes, and it was very native tonguey, if you will.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff that even
we drew a lot of allusions to, you know, native tongues, De La, kind of that kind of whimsy, you know what I mean? That kind of feeling to that. Yeah.
Yes,
he's got a diverse ear for his sample choice, and I don't think he sounds like anybody right now. So
no, 7 is very unique in the way he booms his bap, if you will. You know what I'm saying? But like he really did a lot of good work. So that's
an odd combo.
He approaches it as a composer sometimes as well, which is something I personally really like look out for, something I really admire in a lot of productions. I've been singing that Passing Lanes joint off that album in my head every day for like a year now. Just because like that little melody, that little chord sequence, like I'm assuming that's all MIDI. You know, I haven't spoken to him about it, but like it doesn't sound like a sample. It sounds like something he's like actually sat down and composed himself. Like
7 goes in. Yeah, 7 is really
that's a wild combo. I wasn't expecting to hear you say you had a full project with him. That's a wild combo that kind of surprises me, and it excites me because it's like one of those things, you know, you sometimes you gotta you know figure out like the way things touch and the way things connect, and that one feels, you know, it feels like, you know, chocolate and peanut butter. It might be a little off, but you know what I mean? Like,
oh no, it's like that. Like
yeah.
Oh shit, sorry. It's a truck passing.
No,
it's really it's our best work. That's why, like I say, that's the best preliminary shit. It's our best work, and he really put his foot into the post production. So like I just want people to listen to the transitions. Like the album just flows over you. Next thing you know, you on track 10 because it's just one thing meld to the other thing, goes into the next thing, and comes underneath the next thing. He did a really good job with that, and we just, you know, we keeping up pace. We got some really sharp blades on there. And so hopefully it'll dazzle, but it is I can't say enough. It's our best work, best thing we ever done.
I might have to hear it. Is there a solo vision for you on the way too? You still working on a solo album?
I'm working on it, but it's nowhere. I'm working on it. It's produced by the cat Locust. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
I want to say I know the name, but
he did some production
Locust,
for,
so you know what I mean?
Fidel Threat, and then he's on Little Robert Hutton. If you look in the credits, you'll see Locust. And
maybe that's where I've seen him.
He also goes by another name when he puts stuff out, so I that might be confusing. But yeah, so I'm doing a whole project with him, and then you know, we got some other things in the works. Shrapknel, we're working on some EPs too. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? For full locked and loaded is, you know, Shrapknel season is approaching.
Hey,
you know,
and
it should be a good good year for the label.
Hey, yeah, I'm really excited to hear that. I know we've kept you for a long time now. I'm not. We were like an hour and 18. If you got some more time, I'd love to ask you a bunch of just random questions that don't require.
Shoot.
Yeah, let's do it.
Just some quick fire.
Just some quick fire stuff. Like, who was your first hip hop hero and why?
My first hip hop hero was I guess you have to be Flavor Flav. because
A
when
hype man.
when I came into the game, that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be the hype man. My man's was rhyming at a better pace and rate than me, and I was like, yo, I can get up there and I could just double the words and shit. And I thought that shit was really important. So like Flavor Flav, Freaky Tide, even with Spliff Stars turned themselves into. And look at the longevity of that. It's just like, you know, on a basketball team, like, you know, the censor got his power forward and they stay on that team for 8-10 years, just rocking, you know what I'm saying? Like the Davis boys or whatever. And so that was my first one, because I was like, yo, I want to be like that. Like I can do that. You know what I'm saying? This is before I started even getting steep with my rhyming, but I really felt like I could do that. And so like the punch, like there was a lot of times that Chuck D gave Flav the punch. You know what I'm saying? He gave him the end rhyme and stuff. And if you think about it, like what some of the quotes you know from Public Enemy are Flav lines. You know what I'm saying? So I was definitely down to do that.
What was the first album that you purchased with your own money? I know mine. Mine are kind of corny. I got the Teenage Mutant Turtle 3 soundtrack and the Chronic the same day.
I'm trying to think, because I used to have a bunch of tapes, so it kind of blurs with the tapes. But I could tell you my first CD was two of them. It was The Shining, Smith & Wesson, and Midnight Marauders. I remember getting them because I had my CD player.
Okay, power couple. Who was your favorite artist when you were 16?
Let's see. When I was 16, it was 1990. 93. It's probably Nas and Wu-Tang, like equally. Probably then, yep.
Okay.
Oh no, triples, Nas, Wu-Tang, and Biggie around there.
Makes sense.
So, yeah.
The first time I ever skipped class or skipped school was the day Biggie died. And I was like, yeah, we're not going to school today. But yeah. If aliens came down and said they wanted you to play a single album to show them what hip-hop was, what album would you choose?
36 Chambers.
What is your favorite rapper name that's not yours?
Oh shit.
I got a soft spot for Planet Asia, Sky Zoo.
I want to say, because I was just asking Alaska about this cat, this MC cat, that I thought his name was like C God, or like CEE God or some weirdo shit. But I don't know. That's an interesting question. That's kind of ill.
Alaska is the hard fucking name, especially for a white dude with his rhyme style back then. I was like, Alaska is hard as fuck. Alaska is hard as fuck.
Tell you what the acronym is. It's funny. It's hilarious. I can't.
It's an acronym.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
It's just funny as shit. It just don't make any like they were so idiotic, but it seemed like they were being geniuses, but they were just fucking up. Probably maybe Lot of Dark Man or Smooth Hustler.
Okay. Shout out to Lot of Dark Man. What he's doing these days.
Yeah.
Haven't thought about him for a while.
Well,
Heist of the Century.
Well, Coal Mine Records just repressed the Heist of the Century. So
if
anybody needs to get that, go to Coal Mine Records. That's Small Pro's record label. With,
shout out to Small Pro. Okay.
With Mac Diamond. That's where you find a lot of Small Pro shit with Mac Diamond. And they just repressed, I think, 1,000, a lot of Dark Man Purple. And so I got the original joint. It's right up in my closet. I got that shit. So I don't need another one. But if y'all need that, go get that.
Bet.
Big Woo affiliate. Yep.
Did you ever break or write graffiti?
I used to tag a lot. Just basic like fat marker type shit. I guess my tag name used to be Rebel, you know, the typical 5. I used to do something with the B and shit. And I remember when I stopped, I was out here in Philly and shit. I was doing something. And I looked up and it was like the round camera was like right over top of me. I was like, shit, I probably should stop doing this shit. And it was just like late. But I came up in the era where I grew up in the 80s where like the insides of the train were tagged. Skinness. It was nothing. There was no space. There was tags everywhere on the inside. And I loved Grab growing up. I was around before Koch and the White Rhinos came. And as a kid, you would see this like whole fucking narrative come in front of you in the train station. It would be like whole like I was in the comics, so it'd be like a comic book on the train. And then I did a little bit of breaking, like I get the worm down and do a little windmill. But then I get older, my shit was starting to crack and creak, and I was like, all right, I can't do that.
Oh yeah, I got injuries from when I was like 13 years old. I'm 40 years old, but I'm 57 in b-boy years.
Yeah, I feel you. Y'all put yourselves through it.
Can you or have you ever DJ'd? Do you have any turntablism skills? You can do any scratches?
Nah.
Okay.
I'm like, yo, I'm an MC guy. Like that's
No
what
doubt,
I
no
do.
doubt.
You know, out of the elements, that's what I pick. Back there was a time where one time we scored this fucking iPod DJ joint where you could put the two iPods on there. We was killing it. We spun like 5-10 parties, but that was about it.
Yeah.
Yo.
Real hip hop.
Yo, man.
Real hip hop.
I had 1,000 on each joint, man. We go through everything, put 07 on that bitch. Fuck with them and shit. Yeah.
No doubt. If you were to have a walkout song for like a boxing match or an MMA match, what track you picking?
See, that's weird because you might need the hype, you know what I'm saying? So that
Yeah,
might be a woo song, but just to get the point across, I might do what's the joint? Lyrics to Go.
Oh, Lyrics to Go?
Yeah.
Okay. Yo, if somebody come out to Lyrics to Go, I think they might lose that fight though. Like, you know what I mean? It's like,
it's the one with the mini sample in there.
Yeah. Okay.
No, wait. Yeah, I'm blending that. It'd be Lyrics to Go and it would go into Oh My God, like both.
Okay.
Yeah. Trust me.
Okay. Rank these MCs using any criteria you want.
All right.
Inspector Deck, Big Boy from Outkast, Delta Funky Homo Sapien.
See, look, I'm not super duper on. I like old Del, like Ice Cube's cousin Del.
Yeah.
That's
what everybody
Mr.
likes.
Dabalina and shit. And so I accidentally skipped like Deltron 3030. I told myself, oh, this shit is whack. I don't like this shit. I never listened to it. I'll be honest. I just never listened to it. So there's a little blind spot.
That might be his last great one.
There's a little blind spot for me and Del. I'm heavily steeped in the Inspector stuff, but Big Boy don't get a lot of respect. So I think we would go Big Boy, Deck, and then Del.
Okay. Fair enough. How about Buckshot, Casual, and Havoc?
Casual, Havoc, and Buckshot, because Buckshot did that corny ass fucking record with Ninth Wonder. He started doing some weirdo shit.
We don't got to think about that though.
But
I feel the same way.
Doing some real weird, like medium shit. Him and Drew Hard. I was like, what the fuck is going on? The BDI Thug shit. So yeah, I had to put Havoc over that. So wait, who I put first? It was
Buckshot, Havoc, Gifted, Casual. You put Casual first.
Casual first. Casual, then Havoc, then Buckshot.
All right, let me hit you with one more of those. This one is kind of like a kind of that throwback 80s style type of shit, a little bit. Edan, Mos Def, Charlie Tuna of Jurassic 5.
Okay, no,
they all kind of do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, see. Edan, Charlie Tuna, who's the third?
Mos Def. Yeah,
okay, so Mos gotta go first, right?
Okay.
And there's something to say to Edan's style is very impressive, but I feel like Tuna might have more with the catalog. Edan really is sparse. He don't give us a lot and stuff. So you got to give Charlie Tuna a little credit. I think sometimes he suffers because he was the one that had the voice. So people was trying to pick him out of J5, which wasn't fair because Soup is nasty as hell. He was like the illest one. So I just think that he had that responsibility of like always trying to make Charlie Tuna. To me, I think they forced him to do a solo. I don't think he ever really originally wanted to, but everybody was like we got to hear this guy's voice. So I give him some props there. Yeah. And then Edan's like third.
Actually, that's probably how I rank it too.
Yeah.
What are your top 3 favorite Definitive Jux albums?
His Cold Vein is in there.
For me too.
And it's not
put Fantastic Damage in there.
Fan Damming is in there, and like Mo Mega's in there.
Mega. Hell yeah.
That's Lift second.
Hell yeah.
I love
Shout out to Mr. Lift, man. Shout out to Mr. Lift. I was listening to Enter the Colossus like all last week, man. Shout out to Mr. Lift.
It was them early singles, man. Look, I go back to when Def Jux was a one sheet. It was one page, had orange piping on it, and all they show was like coming soon, the little releases on the side. And the first couple of ones was like the Lift joints.
When they were still allowed to use Def Jux, before
they were calling themselves Def Jux before the definitive Jux.
Did you ever fuck with Galapagos 4? Quell, Quasar, Off-White?
What them in like Bat Sauce and all that? Is that?
I don't know if Bad Sauce a little later. I'm thinking about like early 2000s Off White.
No, I wasn't plugged in.
Quasar.
I
Okay.
didn't know that. Yeah, I wasn't plugged in until a little later.
Okay.
Even knowing
How
about
about your favorite Hyro member besides Casual? I feel like we all gonna say Casual or Dell, and yeah, you got a favorite
All right,
Hyro
so
member?
it's either it's like a tie between Opio and Tajay because there's so many great moments between the two of them, you know, in different times on different songs and stuff like that. So I'd have to say a tie between both of them.
How about favorite Living Legends member?
I would only say Murs because that's the only one I really know. Like I'll tell you if you want to know my West Coast things. I was in the Quantum, big time.
Okay.
Big time Quantum projects,
Sure.
and because I found a compilation,
Satirics and
and through that compilation, I started going through and spreading out to all of the stuff, Blacklicious and all that shit. Yeah.
See, I'm
but
real
I was
deep.
into I was in the Raz, I was in Exhibit. My thing was
the Far Eye.
Yeah, so anybody that showed a little hint of East Coast from out there, I was on it. My antenna was up. I was like, oh, who's that guy? You know what I'm saying? Exodus, who's that guy? You know what I'm saying? I need to know and stuff. But just as much as I knew, but I wasn't into like heavy Compton's Most Wanted. Like I know the singles, but I wouldn't like
Shapeshifters, fucking yeah.
Project
Flow, See, that's
Project Flow. I came
like
to a little later. I came to a lot later because
I remember.
I got the movie Strapped, and in there is a Freestyle Fellowship song, and I used to hum it to myself. What we have, but I didn't know that was them for years. And so, but I would hum the song and shit like that, and then I came back. I knew about them. I was like, well, who? How cool they tie? And then I went back. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. See, for me, a lot of those cats are really formative, and a lot of that is a big part of me. Even a weird cast like Circus and AWOL One. Like I grew up with those cats and I respect them as stylers. And I don't know if I'll say a lot of the music age particularly well, but I'm a champion Tumex and Cholo Lancinco and all those cats, you know, 100%. But what about Anticon? Because you know, I know obviously you work with Alaska, and for a time there was a little bit of separation between the two parties and shit. But I actually grew up with Anticon a lot, and I knew a lot of those cats from the Bay, and I respected them as stylers. With you know, as a Marxist, everybody got their contradictions, everybody got their issues. But I'm an Anticon.
I think all right. I think they thrived on that a little bit, especially with Soul being the lead. Like they thrived on where the anti. They would definitely
LP made Anticon's career for the most part. Like
so I was on LP side. I was all LP'd out. Like if anybody knows, LP is my favorite MC of all time. Period. And I've been like that for a long time. And so I was on board with him. I was very much deep into the boards and shit and finding stuff. So when Linda Tripp dropped, I was like, yo. You know what I'm saying? And then the way it was presented was, you're right. Linda Tripp, there was a website that Linda Tripp was on one side with the audio and the lyrics, and Soul's battle partner was on the other side.
Dear LP.
Yeah. So it was like presented as a double. So you couldn't help but get into both. And so when Anticon leaned into the anti of it, and then you know, you're on the webs and you're finding out stupid rumors that didn't happen of they fighting. You know what I'm saying? They beefing like heavy and shit. So then you pick a side, and I was on Def Jux all day, and so I didn't really delve into. I got Deep Puddle Dynamics because you know, Sean is on there and shit like that. So I was like, all right, I'm interested, and they had a different quirky way of doing their things, but then it was too quirked out for me. It was too offbeat for me, and like I said, they were trying to be anti, and I was just that was one anti too many for me.
Sure. I did appreciate them at the time, and I was, you know, LP Company Flow is kind of like a Company Flow and Freestyle Fellowship were the bigger pushes that got me into underground independent hip hop.
Right.
And I was on LP side at the time. I think that Soul was wrong in the battle. He overstated, and I've never I believe that Linda Tripp is one of the greatest diss tracks of all time.
It is with the recording, man. Like you caught your man with the pants down. When Soul started it with the whole, he thought, well, you talking about me? And when you make yourself self-important like that, you're already behind the 8 ball right there. Because the LP was like, what? I don't even know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? And now he's mad about that.
Yeah.
And I think Soul took it a little too far with that. And and for everybody who don't know, Soul made his first like soul straight truffle.
Yeah. He thought he heard something. He thought he heard something on End to End Burners that was just like, that's everybody. That's not you. He was a little bit too inflated of what he was doing.
And LP had a habit of like trying to just call out toys. They were really on that, like, yo, we're gonna call out all the toys out there, and we don't care who you are. And I think to make it like, it's weird when you think like, oh, is he talking about me? Because if you're listening for it, you're gonna hear it. You know what I'm saying? So like, but at the same time, there's a lot of Nas subliminals and Biggie subliminals and Raekwon subliminals I just totally missed. Sure. So I can't sit there and say like definitively, you know, I get it. You know, everything has people's perspective and stuff. But to throw the first salvo out there with LP with the more production resources, if you will, that's a death knell right there. So, but anyway, but I didn't know about him. I knew about Soul and the Skyrider band, you know, and I followed some of them with Buck Six, you know, and all that different iterations they were doing. So yeah, it's interesting.
I think, you know, of all their bodies of work, like that's the only major embarrassing part about their career to me.
Right.
Is that Dear LP thing. And I never held it like, you know, I used to be a moderator on the Anticon forum. I know a lot of those cats in a semi-casual type of way. And I was in the Bay when a lot of them was out there. And I respect their art as art and leave the
they were envelope pushing. They were definitely envelope pushing. They were trying out a lot of things that weren't popular, and that's always hard.
I do think that you know, they've been demonized in a lot of ways for a lot of things, and I think that their catalog is interesting and stronger than a lot of people would suggest. But I also think that they influence a lot more of the indie white dudes with the home studio that were making indie rock shit. They heard Cloud Dead, and TV on the radio even was like, let's do a little Cloud Dead thing here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, I love Dose One. I think that of all,
so I got some stuff with Dose. That's my man. Yes, I got stuff with Dose coming.
Love Dose to this day.
He invited me on some of his shit, and he'll be on some of our shit. And so big up to Dose.
Yo, y'all got anything with Riff Napalm? Still Riff?
No, because, but they're coming with that project Previous Industries, and I talked to Mike about it, so they really got a vibe going. So they started making like almost rap camp. They would meet up and just write, and so that turned into a project with the three of them. And so
I got into Riff through Galapagos 4 when he was working with like Mestizo and all those cats, and I've been a champion of Riff for 20 years, and he's one of my personal
I got him through him. Sketch tells me about him all the time, and I remember his name changing, and then I kind of lost track of him, and then he popped up, and I met him last year. So
I would love to hear y'all together, just considering the Controller 7 connection that y'all got going. I'm just imagining the best possible world. You know what I mean? No pressure.
No, it's good to plant a seed. Try your Inception on me. You never know shit. You can pull out like, yo, I told that motherfucker.
I remain optimistic. I got about 2 or 3
I am going to take from you though, Omega. There's something. What did you say? Damn, you said B-Boy Sapien, right?
Oh, I mean, nah, but B-Boys, I said B-Boys.
No, but did you ever say that one time, like as a term? Did you ever say?
Oh, like, yeah. I identify as a hip hop human.
I'm taking that for album title. So
keep it, put it in your pocket for later. I fucking, you know what I mean?
I like that.
I self-identify as a hip hop human. A lot of times I feel more hip hop than I feel like heterosexual male. Like I'm like, if you had to put it, you know, like I'm more hip hop.
If I'm cis het, man, put the double H's there. By the way, that's all good.
Yeah, bro. Like my father was a black Seminole, my mother is Filipino. A lot of times I feel more hip hop than both of those things. Yes, so you know, but another like 2 or 3 questions if I could. What's your favorite animal? Land, sea, or
my favorite animal?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hard. It's dogs and cats, because I have a dog, I have 3 cats.
Okay.
It's like a zoo over fucking here. And I used to have 2 dogs and 3 cats. So
you better watch out for the police, bro. They're coming.
Yo, I don't engage. Not around my kid. You ain't messing with my cookie. She can dodge bullets though. She on some piano shit. She
we need more of that. Tapped into the Matrix. You know what I mean? Are you reading anything right now? Like books, literature?
Unfortunately, not anything major. I got a bunch of books that on in my queue. I got Blood in the Garden. That's this joint about the New York Knicks in the 90s. I got the Dilla book sitting there staring at me and shit. And so I got stuff
the new one that just came out from
Dilettante.
Old Boy.
Yeah, somebody when I was in recovery, somebody gifted me that. So I was real grateful for that. And so I got that sitting there for him. But I'm definitely into trying to catch up on the X-Men saga. There's this whole thing about the Krakoan age, if anybody's familiar. It's one of the greatest things that ever happened to mutants and X-Men, and it's coming to an end. So I'm just kind of just like Zilla has like this virtual, so he keep me abreast, and so that's more of what I'm paying attention to, and then I'm gonna go scoop up all the physicals. I'm big, like Zilla likes to get the digital versions, but I'm big, like it's blurred out, but right behind me is my big little comic collection. So I like to get the physicals and dive into that. Yeah,
I never stopped reading comics. I fell out of the X-Men run, the Krakoan age, when Hickman got off of the books, and Hickman is one of my favorite writers. So now he's writing, he's writing the new Ultimate Universe shit.
Yeah, I heard. He's live with it. He's live.
I kind of moved to that.
But I follow Hickman. He's live with it. But that was such a great reset. It was incredible. It was like almost genius.
Yo, Moira McTaggart being a mutant, that shit is hard.
I haven't but also to let us win. You know what I'm saying? Like the genius of forget all this mutant super villainy shit. Like we're all a team. We're all the same, and they can't fuck with us when we're like that. That was genius to me. And on the reset,
Apocalypse at the table.
Yes, like, bro. I stopped playing with me. What did Sabanu say? Said I've been waiting for y'all to catch up. This is what our whole thing was, for me waiting for y'all to come sit and call on me like this is what it's really supposed to be. Oh, I love that little piece. All that stuff was great. Mario with the resurrection protocol.
Hopefully, I ain't spoiling for you, but when Magneto get his heart ripped out and then he uses his powers to
keep the blood flow going and shit like that, and now Storm trying to save him, and they're like in the mental. I keep abreast. I'm trying to keep
no doubt. I'm glad to hear it.
I fuck with that bull Blurred Without Fear. That's one this like Black Nerd. That's a tight piece.
Yeah. I'm on it, man. Jed will tell you I got Spider-Man here. I got the first appearance of the symbiote suit. I've been a comic. I never stopped reading comic books. I didn't get back into it when the movies came out. I've been reading comic books since I was taking them off of the rack at 7-Eleven. Like I'm a comic head.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, Curly Castro, like I actually kept Jet here. I told him it was only going to be about an hour, but we pushed it to.
No, sorry, shit. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Man, I appreciate you so much for coming on to rock with us. I welcome you back anytime you want to build or talk about anything. If you would like to join us for reviews or whatever.
The record, when the record drops, just do your thing and shit like that.
Yeah, no doubt. Easily. Send it to us early. We'll put it out the day it drops. You know what I mean? Like our newer stuff we're doing right now is I think is a better representation of the way we would like to talk about art. And to have some time with your album to discuss it in that way would be incredible for us. And
no doubt.
Alaska told me he might try to get me on Call Out Culture sometime. I'm always down to
come on, man. As long as the time work for you. The time thing. Yeah, you can come on. We can talk. We can talk podcast. Most likely, what we'll do is we'll have a topic. And you'll have weigh in on it, and we'll also talk about your podcast.
No doubt.
For 15 minutes or whatever.
We're not concerned about any promo or anything. We barely promote our own shit. Like I just like I like building with people that know.
But it's all good, man, because it's important. You feel what I'm saying? Like it's somewhat important, even if you're doing it casually. So what I'm saying? We want people to know what y'all do. You know what I mean?
Appreciate you.
And let it build that way. It's organic. You feel me?
Yes, much appreciated.
Yeah, live 1,000 years, Curly Castro. Like I know you were going through some health adversity for a minute. I didn't tap in too much to that, but I'm happy to see that you out here persevering, and I think that you got a lot to be proud of, and I'm excited to hear what else you're gonna bring into the world brand new.
Appreciate that, mate. And Jet, don't think I wasn't attacking you, brother. I just had to come. I wanted to talk to you. And I appreciate you, brother. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to hear it.
No, it's
I was a little bit excited. I kind of wanted to have a little bit more heat between the two. I'm confrontational. I was like, let's argue about it.
What's really good? Lay it on the table. Lay it on the table.
Trash. Yeah.
Come to talk.
Trash.
We'll hash it out.
If we can get you out here, fam, we got you free sushi all day, easily.
Oh, I love that. You know what I'm saying? Some nori and shit. No doubt.
I'm about to shut it down. I'm gonna edit this and try to put it out immediately. I'll put it in the Discord and all that stuff. But
appreciate that. Yeah, man. Thank you for having me.
Family. Power.
All right.
Peace.
Stay tuned.
No doubt. Easily.
All right. Peace.
Peace.